What's up, everybody? I'm Gymkhana Josh, and welcome to Beyond the Apex, where we talk about motorcycle everything, and then some. And this week, we're actually talking about some more of the and then some. Not so much entirely about motorcycles, but also elaborating more from what we were talking about last week about community relations, race relations, and ways to get active in our communities. Um, it's a really serious topic, and it's something that's big that's going on in our world right now, in our neighborhoods right now. So it's something that we should address and just kind of get out there and talk about. Everybody should be talking about it, honestly. Over to my left, you'll see Butter, my co-host, the man, the myth, the
Yo, yo.
legend. Butter, what's up with you, man? What you been up to?
Not much, man. Just getting the week ready. You already know. There's a lot of stuff going on this week. We'll talk about that later towards the end of the show. Um, I'm really honored to have today's guest. I've been trying to get him on for a couple of weeks. Finally, we got him. So hopefully, we're gonna have a good show. He will have a lot of information for the motorcycle community, and he is a stepping stone on how we can change a lot that's going on in New York City. So I'm excited to have him on the show, and we also have his wife with us as well. So
Hello.
a double standard, double whammy. So we're good, man. We're
The
good.
team down here. So on your screen
Yes.
below me, you will see Rock and Bright representing a bait. And I'm not gonna go off too much explaining about a bait, but I'll let them explain that. Rock, Bright, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I've already had a great conversation with you thus far. I can't wait to continue. But thanks for being here. How you guys doing?
Great.
Doing
We're doing
great.
good.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yes.
Of course.
Josh and Butter.
All right, so Beyond the Apex 8, we're talking about, as I said, getting involved in the community. There is somewhere around 8 million registered motorcycles in the US. So it's not, a large portion of the US, but it's still a powerful number if you get people together to actually uh, try and make a difference, try and make something happen. 8 million people is pretty strong. Um, of course, you don't have to be a part of a group. You don't have to be a part of a club or an organization to be active and make a difference. You can ride solo, you can be the lone wolf. But as I just said, there's power in numbers. And this is not just with motorcycle community, but this is just in general. There's power in numbers. So if you have the idea or have the inkling to join a
Sorry,
group,
Josh, you're breaking up.
Waking up.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. If you have the desire to join a group and be active in the community, especially regarding some of these issues that are going on in our
Yeah, Josh,
communities
you're coming
now,
up in and out.
um, this is one of the
So
organizations, Abate, to get involved with. They're definitely the right people to get involved with. Um,
Okay, we're not hearing you at all, Josh.
Still in and out, Josh.
yeah, you're
Mostly
still in
out.
and out. So basically, what Josh is trying to say is that with with the way things are today, you don't have to be part of any MC, any 1% club. As long as you're a rider and you have the love and the passion that we all do, Abate is here to kind of inform us on where we stand as a society of bikers, a community of bikers, on laws and stuff that is being passed and um, not things not being passed in our favors. And I think the good thing that Rock and Bright bring to the table with Abate is exposing those people who say no to these laws and don't do what we ask of them for certain motorcycle laws and how to protect us. So they're a good bunch of people to know, and they're going to elaborate more on that subject on the people who have voted no and the people who are trying to vote yes. And not only that, I know on Sunday we had some amazing women talk about passing legislation for we stood up for this Sunday, due to George Floyd being killed. So they're going to have a lot of information for us, and I just hope that everybody just be mindful of what they're saying. They're going to talk about, when they meet, where they meet, stuff like that. So this is going to be great information for the motorcycle community to have.
so Rock and Bright, if you don't mind, I know we kind of touched on it already a little bit, but can you just kind of break it down in your own words, right from the source? Like, what is Abate and what do you guys actually do?
Well, ABATE is an acronym and it stands for American Bikers Aim Towards Education. That's a bait. We are a nationwide organization. We're in at least 38 states in the United States of America. And the chapter that I am president of is called Five Boroughs Chapter. It's five boroughs because we represent motorcyclists, bikers in all five boroughs. As Butter said, if you're in a club, if you're not in a club, if you're indie, or whatever the case happens to be, we represent you, and we'll pay you for bikers' rights. That's what we do.
We got another entrance to the show now.
Yeah, a 15-pound Rottweiler. But that's what we do. Let me just say this quickly. I really appreciate this platform because one of the things that we found very difficult is to get this information out to the masses in New York City. All right. You were talking about 8 million bikers. Well, in New York City, New York State alone, there are 450 registered bikes.
You said
450,000. Okay. 450,000.
Okay.
And you know, the sad thing about it is that we've been doing this now for about 10 years. And we've been trying to bring the bikers together, no matter what your affiliation is or isn't. That's what we've been trying to do. The most difficult thing is getting them together or getting a platform that we can reach greater numbers. Because honestly speaking, from my last Buster,
I'll get him.
all right, thank you. From my last, throw him outside somewhere. I'm sorry. From my last count, from my membership coordinator, we literally only have. You ready for this one? 122 active members.
Is that just the New York chapter or all over?
No, that's all in. That's five boroughs chapter.
Oh, five boroughs. Okay. Huh.
Now we have more than 122 clubs here in New York City, but we only have 122 members in a bait. And this is the major situation with that. If politicians don't see you in numbers, you are not recognized. No matter how hard I push, no matter how many times I go to their offices, no matter how many letters I write, you understand? It doesn't make much difference. Now, there are politicians who definitely do back us. You know, Senator Leroy Comrie backs us just about in everything that we do. We just hooked up recently with, from September, November, with Assemblywoman Latrice Walker and Assemblyman Nick Perry. So these people have jumped on board with us 100% right away. Now, there are others that are there, but we need those numbers to push people in that direction. Because if we don't get those numbers, then what's going to happen is that great bike ride that we had.
Yeah.
Huh?
I can't hear.
You can't hear? Hold on. Say something.
I can hear you.
I hear you.
Okay.
Rob.
Yeah, we're just listening to you.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're
all
just
right.
listening to you
Yeah,
right now.
that great number of bikers that we had to ride out for that protest and that rally means absolutely nothing. One of the young ladies there who was a council woman, in her own words, she said, a young black chick from Brownsville. She said, I thought I was all alone. She said, I had no idea that was this many bikers out there that would support us. And she's pushing bills that are very important.
Before you go on about that, back it up a little bit and explain what you're talking about. Just recently, well, you said something about, you know, getting visibility. Just recently, you had some events that went down in the city. Kind of tell us exactly what bikers were doing and what you guys were out there pursuing.
Well, some of the more prominent bike presidents got together, reached out to me because I've been reaching out to them. They've been working with me as much as they possibly could, and they've come to a greater understanding of what was necessary. So they reached out to me and they said, listen, Rock, what we want to do is we want to have a protest ride so that bikers are noticed. And I said, that's a great idea. And from that idea, these guys strategized, they organized, Stunner Hood, Jay Smooth, Lance, who was formerly from Trucked Out. They got together, strategized, got together with some community activists, and on my part, I brought the politicians in. From there, we developed this rally, and what happened? Over 500 bikers literally showed up to that rally. It encouraged the politicians to know that they're not by themselves. Because the worst thing you want to do in the political realm is go up against the powers that be. They understand that far better than we do, unless you're in the trenches like we are. They understand that far better, that if they go pushing for something and their colleagues are not behind them, they could be left behind. You know, there's promotion with them even amongst their ranks.
Yeah.
So when they see that numbers like that are willing to come out, that means that they have that backing. So if we call, you know, if we have a call to action, if we say we have a letter writing campaign, and all of those letters and that call to action goes forth like it did on the past Sunday, that speaks volumes to their senior members.
Right.
Because it says, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what were some of the things that you guys are out there, like protesting for? Like, what are some of the subjects or some of the topics that you wanted to bring up and get visibility on?
Well, this particular protest was focused on the murder of George Floyd. So we didn't feel that it would be proper to take the focus from that topic and put it on motorcycles this past Sunday,
right, that
we had that rally. But we're constantly, when we go back to having our meetings after Miss COVID sits her behind down someplace, when we start back having our monthly meetings, you know, we have agenda topics where we constantly going back and forth to Albany, not with a lot of folks, with a few folks, but we hope to be able to garner more support when we do go to Albany, specifically on what we, in June, we have a ride that's called the Freedom Rally. In May, the Freedom Rally. It's an annual event where we ask ABATE members in particular, but any motorcyclist that is interested in having the ability to ride these roads free without harassment to go up there. And what happens when we go up there is we've made appointments with our politicians, with our local representatives, because they're all up there that Monday. And we actually make appointments with them so we can sit down in front of them face to face and talk about the issues that are not beneficial to motorcyclists and issues that are beneficial to motorcyclists, and basically make them know, look, we're taxpayers, we're law-abiding citizens, we're professional people, and what we have to say is important. And if you don't give me your support on what I have to say, I'm going to hold my vote. Now, right now, we could say to them, well, I heard Rock a few minutes ago tell you, you know, we have a few hundred, not a few hundred, 100 members of ABATE. But to think that if we could go up there one day and say, listen, we got, like Long Island ABATE, for example, we got over 2,000 members who vote. And if you don't back what we need you to back, those people are going to take their vote elsewhere. Okay. So we're talking about Cato Creed's law. We're talking about motorcycle profiling. We're talking about those discriminatory biker only checkpoints. We're talking about the conditions of the roads on the highways. We're talking about the constant increase in our insurance. Where's that money going? There's supposed to be that money for motorcycle insurance is supposed to be going toward a pot that's geared toward motorcycle education. Yes. It's not. It's sitting there probably being reallocated to some other portion of DMV, wherever they want it to go. We're fighting to get, like Maryland and like Pennsylvania, free basic rider courses instead of them costing $350. They're free in Maryland. They're free in Pennsylvania. Why aren't they free in New York City with all the money that we pay?
Because some Democrat is actually losing that money, and that's the problem.
Well, exactly. That's my point. So these are the rallying points that we need to get together on to protest about. Because it's ridiculous.
One thing that's really important for the viewers out there, young and old, motorcyclists or not, one thing that's really important to understand, and people say it all the time, but for some reason, our communities and just people in general don't understand. When you show up in numbers to politicians and you have a voice, a singular voice from all these people, and say, this is what we want and this is what we're voting for, you're basically attacking their pocketbooks. You're attacking their wallets. If they don't get elected, then they lose their, their money making ability. So they're going to try and make the largest number of people happy possible. So the key to making these changes, like within an organization like ABATE, is to show up in numbers and make a change by making that vote and being seen by these politicians in numbers. I don't know if I said that the right way, but
You said
That's
that the
absolutely right.
way.
Absolutely.
Case in point, 10
So-
years ago, we had a loud pipe situation, right? The fine for that loud pipe was $700. That's what it was. We got that kicked out. It was kicked out. And the reason it was kicked out is because we rallied together in numbers, came together and said, this is not what we want. We always have that saying, loud pipes save lives. So case in point, when you show up in numbers and you remain constant, and that's the key. And I'm sorry to say it's the failing point so often in Black and brown communities. We don't have stick-to-itness. We don't stay with it. We don't have consistency. So it doesn't make a difference what you do this year if when re-election comes up, none of you are around.
true.
And another case in point, we have a member, one of our members, he always points this out to us, and it's so very true. Right around the time when we were fighting the loud pipes in 2006, I think it was, right around that time, a few people were coming into City Hall saying that you guys are not paying attention to bicyclists. And they would come consistently. You're not giving us what we need. We don't feel safe on the streets of New York. A few of them would come.
Group.
All right. Then some more would come. Then some more would come. Then some more would come. Long story short, as Butter said, they own the city just about now. You can't go down a street in New York City where there's not a bike lane.
I'm gonna tell you how powerful the biker community is. Bicyclist community.
Bicyclists, yes.
They even made police departments move their cars.
Okay.
Okay. Like I've literally been sitting with, commanding officers where they have to rearrange how they park because
To accommodate bicyclists?
to accommodate
Absolutely.
bicyclists in park
Absolutely.
that owns a
Absolutely.
$2 million brownstone. Yeah, you know why? There's people in that brownstone that vote because
That's
they're
right.
out. They're registered voters. Now,
That's right.
as Rock said, we have over 400,000 motorcyclists. I'm in my 40s. I have kids that can vote. Rock probably got kids that can vote. You don't look,
Grandkids.
but exactly.
We got grandkids that can vote.
Exactly. So not only if we as a community say, hey, this is who we voting for in this household. I mean, we can always bring it because we give our children the freedom to vote for whoever the hell they want. But my kids used to tell me, I'm afraid of you going outside. I don't want you to get hurt, because of the COVID-19. You might not get any medical attention. So they're understanding that something can happen to us. And, we've had a lot of friends that died of illegal maneuvers and, cagers not being held responsible for what they do. Imagine each and every one of us, plus our significant other, our children, our grandchildren, go out and vote for my dad, my grandfather, my uncle, who's a bicyclist. And here's this guy gonna push for rules that I can be happy that if something happens to my dad or my uncle, that it's gonna be somebody's gonna pay the price for doing something wrong.
Yes.
A cager can make a U-turn and kill a motorcyclist, and they might just get a summons. That's it.
That's what they get. And not only a motorcycles, a pedestrian.
A pedestrian.
Anybody.
That's what I'm saying.
Anybody.
And we need to put politicians in office that are going to hold these people, that are going to hold our city officials responsible for these decisions. It's the police officer's job to do whatever it is he's told to do. Hey, he didn't do anything like maliciously, give him a summons. He's good to go.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's sad, but we need to educate our riders. We need to educate our riders' family. And this is just not for motorcyclists alone. Families, bring your wife, bring your kids.
That's
Let
right.
let them see how us, as a small minority, the majority, can
Mm.
get together and actually do something. Just the same way Becky and her friends at the local garden get
Mm.
together and enforce bike lane laws and rules that not even NYPD can park a certain way because they're strong in numbers,
Right.
Yes.
and that's important. We need to start coming out to these debate meetings, learn where they're at, get the
Mhm.
information. You live in the district. Hey, I want to know who in my district is actually voting for laws that help
Mhm.
motorcyclists.
True.
Make that, get that connection. Learn, you can get this information from them.
Yes.
Who's the senator not wanting to work with us? Who's our councilman not
Mhm.
pushing for these laws? There's all these people in your community, councilmen, senators, assemblymen, public advocate. You got to get in touch with those people. You need to know who these people are. And here you have the people who can give you this information.
You know,
Mhm.
And
it's not even that you have to reach out. Well, I definitely want to support the organization, but honestly, like I said, for any viewers at home, if you can come to YouTube and watch this video and see us talk about this, you can find out what your local politician's stance is on all these different
Absolutely.
things. It's just a simple Google
Absolutely.
search away. You can find out, or Twitter. Every politician's on Twitter now. Um, they have to.
And it's even it's even
Bryce
it's
gonna give
even
you even more.
Hmm.
it's even easier than that. Easier than having to turn on your computer and log on. You have to do that to find the number. Excuse me. But but it's as easy as calling up that politician's office
Hmm.
and asking for an appointment. All of those phone calls are recorded. They have to return your call. So if I want to know where Senator Comrie stands on a position, like let's say Credo Cade's law, I'm going to call his office. Senator, I'd like to have an appointment. I don't have I can name my organization, but I could be just Joe Blow citizen
Mhm.
who votes and say I want to talk to you about X, Y, and Z, and I need to know where you stand on it because I want you to be a sponsor, let's say, of a bill that's coming out now. Back out. Loud Pipes has not gone away.
Right.
Coming back.
Loud Pipes is coming back, and the number for it now, the bill number is AO2569 with the same $700 fine.
Hmm.
All right. Right now, it's in transportation, so they're thinking about it. Okay. So I'll call up Comrie. I'm really concerned about this, and I need to know where you stand. I need to know if you're with me or if you're against me. There's no in
Right.
between. Either you're going to support them with a bill that could possibly make me lose my life because someone doesn't hear me coming and use that excuse, I didn't hear you coming, or you're going to support a bill that says, okay, Loud Pipes does save lives, and maybe we should change what the decibel reading is on the meter.
Right.
We're not saying make it so it sounds like you're popping off shots or whatever while you're coming down the road,
Right.
but the decibels need to be higher. Senator Comrie, I need you to support this. Senator Comrie's assistant or his scheduler is going to call you back and say, here's when he's free. When can you come down?
How,
That's it. That's what I do
how does
as legislative coordinator.
how can somebody out there watching right now, how can they get involved with Abate? Like, how do they actually get in touch with you guys, or like get involved with your programs, your events, stuff like that?
All right. So we are a Bay of New York Five Boroughs chapter. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram also, and you can contact us that way. Let me just say something also about that. In contacting us, and even if you can't contact us, for instance, say you forget Five Borough chapter, say you forget. What you can do is just type in Abate of New York. Once you type in abateofnewyork.org, it's going to take you to the state chapters page. When you get to that state chapters page, it will show you who the representative is in your area.
Okay.
Here in New York City, that's me.
Okay.
So whether you go to Abate Five Boroughs, Facebook page, or Instagram, or you go to the state page and look for New York, you'll find us.
Okay.
And when you find us, then you can contact us. And here's the wonderful thing that both you guys spoke about, of which I'm going to add to just to reiterate what you said. It's not just for bikers. That's the mistake a lot of people make. that you have to be a biker. No, you do not have to be a biker. All you have to be is a conscious citizen. You understand, who's concerned about what's going on in your community and in your neighborhood. If you do that, it's as simple as this. You ready for this one? Because a lot of people, we have a lot of deaths due to motorcycle accidents, right? Whether cages clip us or whether we're out there doing something, that causes us not to make it home or to lose a limb. For $30 a year, not a month, $30 a year, a bank offers a $4,000 death and dismemberment policy.
Oh, wow.
That's what you get for $30 a year.
Wow.
Didn't even know that.
Yes.
And
All right.
and
Go ahead.
you get a newsletter that is bi-monthly to let you know what's going on in the state. You got a big ugly patch. Sorry, you got to tell the truth. It's a big ugly patch. It's not a centerpiece patch, but it's a patch that you can put somewhere. That's about this big. Yeah, it's a gosh darn ugly. But it says Abate of New York, right? You get a membership card that will allow you to get certain discounts at certain retailers. One in specific in New York is Strauss Motorsports, that's in Brooklyn on Utica, and he will give a card-holding Abate member a 5% discount on whatever you buy or whatever service you need, or anything like that. Okay, it also gets you legal, not representation, in the instance of if you get in trouble, you need a lawyer to go to court with you. But let's say if you get caught up in a profiling situation where illegal tactics were used, we have access to legal people who will advise us, legal attorneys who will advise us on what steps to make. And the biggest benefit of being an Abate member is you get a voice.
Yes.
And you get a platform.
That is a big
For
thing.
$30 a year, you get all of that.
Start cutting checks, guys.
Yeah.
And you can join on either our Facebook page, which has a join us, or you can go to our home site, which is www.abateny.org, and it says membership. So either way, you can join by PayPal, by credit card. We used to take cash, but we don't do that anymore. So those are the ways that you could go about becoming an Abate member.
So when you do that, it's Abate, which is 5 boroughs chapter.
Right, when you select your chapter, because they have the state list all the chapters in New York. Now, be careful because there is a Brooklyn chapter, but that Brooklyn chapter is designated towards the iron workers of Brooklyn. So if you're an iron worker in Brooklyn, then you would join that chapter. But the generic, all 5 boroughs, was join 5 boroughs chapter.
Okay.
So make sure you see the difference between Brooklyn and 5 boroughs.
Okay. So actually, I got some more that we want to talk about, but I think right now we should just take like a not 10 minute, but maybe like a 5-minute intermission. We might actually have a couple more guests that are going to join us.
Okay.
So for all you watching at home, sit tight or grab something to drink, hit the potty, do what you got to do. We'll be back here in between 5 and 10 minutes, and we'll keep this thing going. Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate you sticking around. If you stuck around, if you're just joining us, you just joined Beyond the Apex, episode 8. And we're talking about being involved in the community. There's a lot of things that are going on right now in our communities all across the US, and there's a lot of topics that we need to talk about, but one of the main things is motorcyclists can get active. They can get motivated, and I can hear myself in somebody else's screen, by the way. But yeah, you can get active in your communities and go out and make a change and do good things for motorcyclists and your neighborhoods and your cities and your states, etc. So while we were on this little intermission, we actually got joined by 2 other guests. Down at the bottom part of your screen, in the middle, you'll see Dennis has joined us, and over on the left of him is Stunt. If you guys can just introduce yourselves, let us know kind of what you're about, why you're here, what you're representing, I'd appreciate it. Dennis, if you could just kick it off.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Dennis. I represent a crew named Freedom Block. We just bunch of guys just like to have fun and follow the rules, but at the same time, we get harassed. So that's why I'm here today.
Hey, Stunt, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? Stunt Hood. Hood Riders, New York.
Hey, so before we went to intermission, a lot of what we talked about was ABATE and how ABATE is involved in the political process. Not so much, having a politician representative, but how the group and the organization and the community can impact legislators and the legislation to make things easier on motorcyclists and people of color as well. So kind of continue that same actually, when we were just on the intermission, so Stunt, you already knew Rock and Bright, right? How do you guys know each other?
From a base. I know Bright. Yeah, I remember. I know Bright and Rock for some time in the MC community. I knew of them, but really got more to know him as I got involved with ABATE.
Why is it that you actually reached out to ABATE? What was it that got you interested?
As you kind of grow in this biker thing.
Oh, we lost Stunt.
Lost his audio.
Can't hear
No
you.
audio.
Stunt, can you hear us? Earth to Stunt. Yeah.
We see you, but we can't hear you. Can't hear you.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Somebody's phone is echoing pretty bad. It sounds like they got the show playing.
If you're actually like watching the live broadcast the same, that could be the reason as well.
Yeah, anybody who has the live broadcast on, it'll make it interfere.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Very low.
I'm there. All right. Well, as I become more involved with this biker thing, I found a lot of states. I pretty much travel a lot, and from what I started to learn as I travel is how important biker rights are. And as a biker, as you start to be interact with police and things that go on, you start to encounter different situations. And if what I felt was at certain times I didn't know my rights. And I would be pulled over, I'll be asked questions, or I'll be stopped at motorcycle safety checks, which are illegal. And these things I was unaware of. So I think my first time I went to an actual ABATE meeting, I got invited. And when I started to learn certain things that were going on and that were happening to us bikers were illegal, it kind of empowered me to go back to my people and teach them as well, which made me want to know more. So that's kind of why I got involved with ABATE. And I mean, to anyone that doesn't, value those type of understandings and knowing your rights, I'm telling you, get involved with it. It's powerful.
It's not just motorcycling either, honestly. Like from what I've understood from Rock and Bright over here as we've been talking is that it's not just about motorcycles either. There's a lot of other issues that the organization focuses on, attacks, and tries to make changes with. Were you actually out there for that last protest rally? Did you go attend that?
You talking about the one down at the Barclays?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he
yeah.
attend it? How about he was the founder of it?
Oh,
Yes,
well,
sir. You shout out.
Organized.
Yeah, you shout out the stunt, man. He put on.
Yeah.
tell us about
He's
that.
done something
Hand
to
clap.
have.
Tell us how that actually came about then, please.
So a brother named Smooth, me, a brother named Sev Black from the Set magazine. Sev reached out. Someone's still watching it live. I don't know if you guys hear it. It keeps echoing.
Nah, I'm off that.
No, we don't hear no echo over here.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm still hearing the previous one. All right, but Sev reached out. He got Smooth on the phone, and me and Smooth had a conversation with Sev Black and Don B and Big Swole, formerly of Next Generation, and we started having a conversation. And probably about 5 minutes into the conversation, we got Rock on the phone, and what the brother wanted to do, the brother Smooth wanted to do a freedom ride, Justice and Liberty Freedom Ride, and I had a couple of brothers coming into town this weekend here. We were going to do a run down to the Barclays and actually take a knee with the protesters out there. So what I said to the brother was, you know what, I'm willing to put aside what I got going, forget just doing a ride. Let's collaborate here. Let's do the ride and let the ride go down to the Barclays, and we'll get some community activists involved, a couple of different assemblywomen and men and councilmen if we could, and we would actually go down there, take a knee. We would have a bait talk and a couple other people talk just about biker rights and just rights as a people. And we just started working it. Before you know it, man, it turned into what you've seen over the weekend.
Yeah, I was about to say, I saw some of the videos. That's a pretty amazing experience, it looked like. Hey, Dennis.
It absolutely was. And it showed us, a lot of people think that bikers we want to go to a party, we want to, just go to hang out in the parking lots or whatever the case. But it showed us that if we're focused and we're on the same page,
Now I hear that.
and we're looking for the same solution and outcome, we most definitely can come together. And it proved it. It proved it during the time when they were fighting the loud pipes in 2006. It proves it every time we go to Albany for the Freedom Rally to meet with the politicians. And now this event that occurred on Sunday, which in my humble opinion outnumbered those two previous events trifold. We can do it if we put our minds to doing it, and if we get our minds off ourselves and put our minds on a purpose. Right. So it was absolutely one of the most empowering things I've ever seen as a biker.
I just want to chime in on so there was a lot of people that did speak, and I think the way Stunt got this thing going was really, really huge because everybody was posting it. So I think Freedom Blocks is very now that we come into Dennis, they're very influential in social media, and they put out a lot of stuff. I think between what Stunt did and what Dennis does on social media, we need to somehow get you two guys to get more people involved by giving us the information that gets us to rock. They have some really good information. There's laws and regulations and legislation that needs to go in effect. But because we don't go out and put pressure on our politicians, those laws get pushed out. I know Rock and I were talking about a lot of stuff that gets not voted because we don't put pressure on our politician. Right. So I think, Freedom Blocks is always being targeted, for what they do. They're just like me, they're business owner. Dennis is a business owner. And I'm a business owner. So, and I ride, and a lot do ride, own their own business, are civil servants, we're parents, we're teachers, we're doctors. And I think that if we make this information available in a way that these people can get to it, and using Freedom Blocks and Stunts, obviously their stronghold on the community, we can get more people out. I think this is something that we need to start doing. We need to stop looking by it. I know a lot of people say, bait, yeah, whatever. We need to start putting pressure on our own people and get us involved. I mean, We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, I own 4 motorcycles. I got over $100,000 worth of motorcycles in my garage. $30 to be part of something that actually is going to benefit me and friends and loved ones. I think it's worth it, and I think we need to get more people involved in that. Dennis, I'm going to let you take the platform because I know you do a lot of community work, and I think it'd be helpful if you can get the word out on your end.
I don't know. This is like my first time, so excuse me. Well, I don't know where to begin. I started this about 10 years ago, and Freedom Blocks came into my life about 6 years ago. My brother and my best friend is actually the founders. I'm just like the lazy on who gets everything together for everybody else. Yeah, I'm just the guy that tries to talk, but yeah, we do a lot of cancer write-outs, coat drives, toy drives. We've done donations for family members that have passed away. There's many that Hustler Kings was involved with. um, Besides that, this platform is awesome. I mean, there's a lot of good information going out. This is actually the first time I get to meet a bait in person through, through the phone. And
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you guys, as well as stunts. And this is good. This is good for me. I'm learning myself. I'm just sitting here and just absorbing everything what you guys are saying, and I'm all for it. I mean, he says I'm an influencer. I'm just a guy. I'm a guy with a family that loves to ride. I love to stunt, and there's a bunch of us that love to do that. We get harassed just riding. My bike is totally legit, and I'll still get harassed. My son is an NYPD, and I still get harassed. So it doesn't matter, where we go. And this is great. This is good information.
So one thing we were talking about, probably actually prior to the show, maybe a little bit while we were live, was that there are a lot of solo riders out there. There's a lot of lone wolves, and they might have a desire to join a group or join an organization and get involved and do things. How would you two specifically? I've already kind of got a rundown of how to get involved with the bait. There's the website, there's Facebook, there's telephone numbers you can call. How would you guys, specifically Dennis and Stunt, how would you recommend those riders out there that want to get involved? How do they get involved in their communities? How do they actually, meet up with like-minded individuals, maybe riders, maybe even beyond motorcycling? How do they actually get out there and get involved?
I'll let Dennis go first.
Social media, man, with us, networking. There's so many of us, there's so many popular names out there. And once we put something out there on a DM, it goes worldwide. I'm talking about all the way to California, Florida. Freedom Blocks is everywhere. We're not a MC, but I got nothing against MCs. We're just a team. We're just a bunch of guys. And for some reason, Freedom Blocks, it rang bells for a little while, and it's still ringing. And we're going to take advantage of it. And it's networking, social media, Facebook, Twitter. We're everywhere. And once the word goes out, and once you start acknowledging them about a bait, I mean, it's going to be a good thing.
This is why I wanted to get Dennis in. So Dennis and I have worked. We started one of the biggest breast cancer runs in New York City. We've done coat drives, book bag drives. A couple of years back, a gentleman was killed going home by a Banshee, and NYPD was on us. That man was killed maliciously on purpose, and the word got out that they was coming for us. And me and Dennis got together with a bunch of other bikers. We actually went to the person's home, the family's home, and we donated over $1,000 just as a show of gratitude to just say, listen, not all bikers are pieces of shits as you're gonna think because a biker killed your dad. This guy was 67 years old, riding his bicycle, coming home from a 10-hour day at work, and was maliciously killed. Somebody riding a quad, and NYPD was all over it. And me and Dennis felt we had to take a stance by actually doing something. And NYPD cooperated with us. We spoke to brass at NYPD, and we were able to just go down there peacefully and, make a nice raw and show the family that it doesn't this one guy doesn't affect. And that's usually what happens. One guy does one thing and we all pay for it. Whether they be black, white, or Chinese, you're out a helmet on, so they don't care. If you do some foul shit, they're coming for all of us, and a lot of us pay for it. And I think it's important that we join the bait, and and organizations. And I know the Florida Stunt. I know he's involved in a lot of different platforms and a lot of stuff with his club, and he's very influential in his game. So I give it to you now, Stunt.
I mean, for something like what I'm a part of, it's really not social media driven or anything of that nature. In order to really get involved with something like I'm involved with, it's really through person. It's really through mouth to mouth networking. I mean, there is social media. I know my club does have the IG page, um, but for the most part, man, we really hand to hand. It's you got to know somebody to get through to somebody to get in there, and it's for many reasons. We're a lot more, and of course, motorcycle clubs. We're a lot more disciplined than independent riders. There's a lot that it takes to get involved with something like what I'm involved with, but for the most part, if you're trying to join a motorcycle club, like mine's or any club, I would tell you to just, get out there, check out some of the motorcycle events that's going on. I mean, whole conversation, man, just ride. That's just what it comes down to, man. If I meet someone and they want to join something like Hood Riders, the first thing I tell them is let's take a ride. And, let's see where the road leads us and we'll go from there.
That makes sense. So actually, I think Rock and Bright might be having a technical difficulty as well. But for you guys, Dennis and Stunt, do you guys have any events that are coming up on the horizon?
Actually, yeah, the cancer ride out. We're still gonna run with that one. Hopefully Hustle's still on board. And besides that, I'm leaving everything for everybody else. It's true what he says. It's also by people. And like I said, I know a lot of people, but with us independent riders, we have open doors for everyone. So as usually when you see our rides, it's slingshots, spiders, pan cams, it's scooters. If it has a wheel, it has gas, you can ride. And that's just who we are. But I respect the bro, and just that's what it is. I think we lost somebody.
Yeah. Oh, Butter's back.
But yeah, just to cancel ride up for now. Right now, we're just about this year's supporting other rides. It's been a lot about supporting us. So this year is about supporting everybody else. And that Barclays ride out was awesome. It spoke many, many words. It spoke many, many reasons of people's lives, because I'm there just for, Black Life Matters, every life matters, but I'm also there for my son, whose blue life matters. So, I'm in the middle. Right. So basically I'm in the middle. So I don't choose sides. I'm just there for peace and love.
Man, actually, that's a good point. Not necessarily a point, but you don't necessarily have to pick sides. I think a lot of people that I interact with, we're very adamant about this cause. We're very adamant about supporting our communities, our cultures, our ethnicities, etc. It doesn't have to be a us versus police type thing. We have police officers in our families. We have police officers that have saved our lives, that have helped us out in the past. It doesn't necessarily have to be us versus police. There are aspects of the police force and aspects of law enforcement that I have great issues with, but I mean, I can't say I hate police officers. It doesn't necessarily have to be like all like that.
There's bad apples in every patch, man. You're a rider, there's bad apple there. If you're a cop, there's bad apples there. It's just we gotta step up and flush it out. As I told a reporter on that day of Barclays protest, I told her we have to flood the system with more Puerto Ricans and blacks. We got to flood the system. We got to stop telling our kids it's about basketball and baseball. We got to start flooding the system with judges and lawyers and advocates. We got to put more of us in there.
It's funny. It's funny he says that. Mm-hmm. So we had just had a council meeting about that. There are less minority men, especially men of color, who are in charge of city agencies due to the knowledge, them not having knowledge of how to even do a Microsoft spreadsheet or know how to use Excel. It's funny how, as a city employee, and we see this live. So, these people that are in charge, they're taught this information. And us minorities, we're basically like, go grab a hand tool and go be a blue collar worker. It's very important because Dennis said that. we need to have more of our people in city politics, in city office. It starts with the police commissioner. You know, this commissioner now, he is not one of us. He is not. He doesn't know what we've been through. He's never lived in our neighborhoods. I lived in, and Dennis can vouch for that. We lived in two of the most war zone neighborhoods in all of Brooklyn at one time, and you know, we have an inspector deputy that comes from our neighborhood, and this is the first time in years that we've actually got to work well with someone in the police department because he's from where we at. He's us, and we need more of that. We need more of our brothers and sisters to move up in the ranks. I know there's a lot of political strongholds, a lot of red tape because he sees it himself. It's harder to get promoted when you're color of skin, but if we change the snake's head, things will happen a little different. You know what I mean? So it comes out to voting for the mayor. Come out to this debate and say, all right, who is the debate gonna vote for? Who has our best interest in these times? And we have to come together as a community to do that. And I think Stunt and Dennis have a great platform to get people to come out. And I am gonna find myself guilty of not being more involved. But since what I seen Stunt do on Sunday with the rest of the guys, it was amazing. It was really touching because there was so many people from so many clubs, from organizations, even social clubs that just popped off, and got to see everybody that I'm on social media with, that actually got to see them in person. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't take somebody's death to see that or for us to come together.
True.
We should just come and just be like, you know what? Hood is throwing a party. Let's go over out to their clubhouse. Let's go show love and, you know, and just participate in each other's events so that we can grow as a community. And I think Sunday really opened my eyes to all this, man. I think after 27 years of riding, we got to get more involved.
And actually, that brings up a good point that we've kind of already touched on in the beginning, which is that the motorcycle community is a very diverse community. There's a lot of different ethnicities and cultures and everybody that's involved with riding on two wheels. And when you get people together in numbers, that's where power is. You know, an individual has a certain amount of power. Certain people command a certain presence and have a certain amount of power about them, but you get thousands of people to say they want to vote for a particular purpose or reason, or they're going to march and speak for a particular purpose or reason. That speaks a lot louder than one voice. That's for damn sure. But you know, it's actually about time we should probably start winding down. What I want to do is kind of go around the room and just give you guys the opportunity to have some like closing comments, closing remarks, and then we'll wrap this thing up. I really, before we even get to that point, I just want to say I appreciate all you guys joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure and it's been informative, and I hope everybody that's been watching is gotten something out of it. I'm sure they have. But Butter, what you got for closing comments?
I am gonna leave the floor. I'm actually gonna let Stunt follow after me, but let's get together. Stunt, I got you. We've recently connected, so let's stay more together. Let's put some flyers out. Let's get some organization. Let's get people to come out to a debate. Let's promote that. Somebody wants to put up a flyer or make a flyer. Let's go out to the next debate meeting. Let's try to double their numbers this time, and let's just work together, man. I mean, we spoke about this earlier with Rock and Bright. You know, these, I don't want to say it in a negative tone, but these bicyclists, they run the city. If
Absolutely.
and they don't, but they don't pay to be on the road. I pay to be on the road. I
That's
pay
right.
registration. I pay insurance. I pay, so I should have a bigger voice than this recreational bike. So we need to get together. You need to come out to the next debate meeting. I think this is going to be a really good time for us to get together. Stun, it's on you, man.
I mean, before I could get into the close, I just want to say, look, I think more than anything, when you're trying to pull something off big, you know, it's great to have good, you know, people involved with you. Collaboration is important. And, you know, what you seen on Sunday wasn't, you know, just me. You know, I was one of the organizers, man, but, you know, really having other people in the community that are not afraid to reach out, that are not afraid to communicate and network with other individuals, which you heard me call those names out. You know, Seth Black and B Swole and Smooth and Don B and Rock. You know, the important piece is not being afraid to put things aside that you may have going on that may be for greatness individually, but really coming to a point where you realize that it's a bigger cause and you're not afraid to join on with each other and make it bigger than what you would have made it. And that's important, man. No matter how big your name is, you can always do bigger things when you get more involved. And I think that's the key piece that everyone's got to take away from it. Yeah, I got a big club. Yeah, we got a lot of numbers, but if we got more involved that could spread the word, that makes things even better. And I think that's the key piece, man. And more than anything, I appreciate you guys having me on the show. But I will say that anybody that's watching this, that's a biker, or just even if you're a non-biker, you're a social club, anything, the reason you should be supporting the bait is because there's a bigger cause. If you got a family member that's a biker, that's riding these streets, that's out here, guess what, man? I work every day. I work a lot of hours every day. It made me hard to even get on the show, but I got on. Restaurants just opened up, man. Y'all took a little bit of my dinner time,
Sorry,
but
man, sorry.
man, I really appreciate it. But more than anything, if you got a family member out there that's on the ground, you should be supporting the bait, just to make sure that their rights are being fight for. And that's the point. We all ran out. We voted for Obama. We got him in office because we thought he was going to do something. He did a lot for us, believe it or not. But that should be the same reason and the same cause that you guys get down and get that $30 in to be a voice for all of us that's on the street and your loved ones. So more than anything, man, I really appreciate you guys again and much love.
Thank you. What you guys?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, definitely. And just to wrap this up, we were talking about voter registration, about voting by mail. You can contact your local politicians. Right now, June 23rd, there will be elections that are coming up. So it's important for people to get out there and vote for the people that you know have been supporting your community. Yeah, it's not just about not just about bikers. It's about your community as a whole. We work, those of us like myself, who happen to be retired, but those of you who work, it supports your community. And if your legislators, your lawmakers know who you are, and they know
Register
that
my
you'll come
vote.
together.
Registermyvote.org so you can go out and ballot.
All right, great. All right, yeah. So this is the key thing, and then the other thing is this: is the networking. Dennis, I am pleased to meet you, to hear the wonderful things that you guys have been doing. You understand, and we definitely want to network with you and with everybody else here. We appreciate this opportunity coming on because it just gives us a larger voice, and the larger voice that we have, the more we can get done in our community. Because as Bright said in the beginning of the program, there's anti biker profiling. There's a Credo Cade law. You understand? There's these motorcycle only checkpoints. And then, of course, she talked about the registration money that we send in every year, that none of it comes back to benefit us. Whereas people like us, we're trying to fight with the city and trying to write or get grants to help subsidize M-class endorsements. But why should we do that when the money is already there?
True.
Right. And just to piggyback off of what Rock said, we've had great number of successes just in 2019 that, I like to brag about, because people ask the question a lot: what is Abate doing for us? What is Abate doing? Okay. So we finally were able to organize a motorcycle advisory council that includes NYPD, DOT, transportation, and a few other motorcycle advocacy groups. And with that, we were able to finally get the police to stop writing tickets up to motorcyclists who use HOV lanes, specifically the Staten Island Expressway. So motorcyclists will no longer be harassed for using that. We have them now looking at motorcycle only parking and using it as a daylighting solution for corner parking. So we're fighting very hard for that. We're currently we're still fighting congestive pricing, because motorcyclists were left off of the original analysis that Mr. Sam, I forget his last name, but the person that did the initial analysis for the city left motorcycles off, which in turn meant that we would be by default paying the same $11 or $12 that a four-wheel vehicle would have to pay. So we went up to Albany, we lobbied, we talked to the politicians, and we got their ear. So they're now going to possibly look into getting us at least a lesser fee, or exemption totally. We're fighting for the exemption totally.
Yes.
And of course, we're not, we're going to constantly be fighting for Credo Cade's law. Somebody hits you and kills you, they get a $35 fine. It's ridiculous.
Right.
So we got a lot of stuff that we have to fight for, and we need feet on the ground to do that. So, Stunt, I thank you. I thank you for your advocacy and for pushing Abate. Josh and Butter, I thank you again for this opportunity to give us this exposure, and we got to do it again.
And Dennis, we look
Absolutely.
forward
And
to
Dennis,
working with
right,
you also.
absolutely.
Dennis, what you got for closing comments? Anything you want to put out there to the people?
Well, after these two comments, I don't know what to say now. But,
It stole the
Stunt
show.
but yeah, they killed it. But I'm here. I'm here to listen. I'm here to help. Whatever information you could give us, we're going to put out there. Butter has all the information he has all my information, so he could give it to you guys. And I look forward.
Okay. Oh,
Right.
and just to let you know, we are on hiatus because of COVID-19. But the minute we get back rolling, I don't know, we might have to start this exact type of forum with a Zoom forum or a Skype forum. But right now our meetings are on hiatus, but that does not mean you can't join us. You can still join us
Right.
until we start back having our physical meetings, which are the second Thursday of every month.
Okay.
And we move the meetings when we get back. We move the
All 5
meetings
boroughs.
all through the 5 boroughs. So we'll go to Brooklyn
Right.
1 month, we'll go to Queens 1 month, so on and so forth.
Okay.
All right. Good.
That's what's up. So we're about to wrap this thing up. I want to thank everybody that joined us this evening. This was an amazing conversation. I learned a whole lot myself. I'm motivated. I want to go out there and do something my damn self at this point. Right? Right? I get a cool patch. But yeah. So basically, you guys, if you want to get involved, there's organizations out there. There's groups out there. There's clubs out there. All you have to do is just hit the Google machine, hit the internet, or get on Facebook and start searching around. Or I'm going to get the information from all of our guests today and put that in the description of this video after it publishes to YouTube. So anything that you guys need to actually reach out to our guests, it'll be there. And like I said, I really appreciate you coming and joining in. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button, the little bell icon, so anytime we go live, you'll get notified of it. We do a show every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Beyond the Apex on my YouTube channel. And we talk about motorcycle stuff or just community relation stuff. This is something big that's going on in our community, so I feel like it's something that we need to talk about. And other than that, I just want to tell you guys, leave this world better than you found it. Take it easy. Hey, all you fantastic people.